Hey.
Oh my God.
I didn't even see it this time. I wasn't paying attention.
See? Got me. It wasn't me this time.
No, I just literally wasn't looking.
Gotcha.
Hey, y'all. What's going on?
Boy.
It's your boy C. It's Zach. It Will. Chris not here today. I don't know why. You literally don't know why this time. I think people are concerned. There was a comment that I think got deleted or hid about being gone.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
No.
I'll tell you about it later. Forget other things. So anyway, welcome to On the Back Cash, where we talk about all things Patrick's Yards. Like I said, I'm Ted. I'm Zach and Will. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the past weekend. It was the first WGI Regional. So while our local circuits have been started over the past several weeks, man, I think this has been like week 3 or 4 for local circuits.
I'll say it's almost a month.
Yeah. WGI had their first set of regionals this past weekend. So the Colorguard Regionals. First percussion regional, I don't think happened until the 25th. Thank you, Zach. So still another week before their first percussion regional, but we had 4 Colorguard regionals that happened across the country. One that was televised, so a lot of our commentary, as far as like specific stuff, will happen towards the regional that they showed on Flow Marching, which was the Avon Regional. And for it to be this early in the season, like
Man,
there
it
was
was
some
awesome.
it
was awesome.
It was some heavy hitters in that, and it's crazy to think how good groups are this early in the season.
Bruh.
Like, just in all of the classifications. Like I was thoroughly impressed. But yeah, there was a regional, and of course we said Avon. There was one in Knoxville, one in Cummings, and then one in Kansas City. So, kind of stayed a little bit on the towards the Midwest for this particular round of stuff, but it was really a good way to get started with everything. And there was one on the east. That Cummings is up east too. I think in or around New York. So, but yeah. So, I guess we can do just a quick recap of winners. You think that'd be good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, looking at, and by the way, if you ever want to know, WGI has all this information out, so you can easily go to their website and you can find all that good stuff. So, starting with the Cummings show, our winners in Scholastic Regional A, Phoenix High School Junior won their class. Independent Regional A was Liverpool High School JV from Liverpool, New York. And then their big sister, Guard 1, Scholastic A. The Liverpool Varsity won Scholastic A there. An Independent A, Introspection Independent, won that class. Scholastic Open with Central Square High School. And an Independent Open, Mainline Independent out of Pennsylvania. So they were the only group not from the New York, New Jersey area that made finals actually there. So congratulations to those groups. And the Kansas City Guard Regional, your Scholastic Regional A champion was Bentonville West High School from Arkansas. And Scholastic A, Green Valley High School, which is, like I said, one that you should probably look out for. Won the Scholastic A group, and that was a large class there. They took 14 in finals. So good for them to come out on top there. Independent A, National Avenue from Missouri State University, won Independent A there. Scholastic Open, Blue Springs High School's Open class group. takes the Scholastic Open Championship, and then the Independent Open, the Pride of Missouri State wins that class there. So that was your Kansas City Regional.
I wouldn't mind like seeing that Blue Springs group. I always loved their marching band.
Yeah, for senior band is really good. So
Fantastic.
Try to catch them. In Knoxville, your Scholastic Regional A champ was Warren County High School from McMinnville, Tennessee.
Go ahead, Warren.
Not to be confused with Warren County from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Two very different locations. In Independent Regional A, JCS Meridian from Nicholasville, Kentucky. So I didn't even.
I'm pretty sure. I might know who teaches that.
Okay. So, well, they got them a little regional.
Check that before I say anything.
Okay. Well, they got them a little regional.
Cut that out.
Nonetheless, cut it out. Yeah, we'll have our editor deal with that, so we'll cut it out.
Yeah.
In Scholastic A, Walton High School out of Marietta, Georgia, takes the Scholastic A Regional Championship there, and that Class A was kind of loaded. You know, you got some big names there with Hardin Valley Academy there, and George Rogers Clark. So some big names there in that class. And then in Independent A, you had Knorr Independent from Atlanta, Georgia, take the Independent A Regional in Knoxville. In Scholastic Open, Seymour High School out of Seymour, Tennessee. Your Independent Open champion was Takata out of Spartansburg, South Carolina. And then Independent World Eclipse out of Nashville, Tennessee takes the Knoxville Colorguard Regional Championship there. And then I guess we could say our feature regional of the week, since it was the one that they showed on flow marching. So we can get into a little bit more detail about that. The Avon Regional. In Scholastic Regional A, you had, hopefully I don't pronounce this too bad, Pekia.
Pekia? That's what I was going to say.
I was going to say Piqua.
Piqua? I'll just call it Piqua. I'll trust you, Zach.
Thank you.
All right. High school out of Piqua, Ohio. Your Scholastic A champion was Rees Puffer High School out of Michigan. And Independent A, the Magnolia Project, one for the home team.
Let's go.
Out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. Shout out to Jesse Price and her crew there. Wonderful show. They had a flag freeze.
I put it on Snapchat.
Yes.
They had a flag freeze that was
go ahead.
Absolutely beautiful. And it just works. Their show's entitled Remember Me? Is it Remember When?
Yeah, something
like that. We'll get it right. I apologize, Jesse, if you're listening. This don't hurt. But it's a very cool show, and I've seen the way they set their floor up. They use a blank canvas to start, but instead of using one big floor, they have three smaller floors.
Big panels.
Yeah, panels that they pull out. And I've seen another guard do that this year too.
It's called Remember When.
Remember When? Okay, I thought
you were right.
But very real thought out. The floor, the color of the panels are beautiful. Like it looks like some hand painted pastel.
They're like they kind of look like cherry blossoms.
Yes. And then the silks that they use really worked well for them. Very well put together show. Very strong start to the season for them. So kudos to them. I really, really enjoyed that one. And they're setting themselves up for some good stuff. And I'll go ahead, since this is kind of our feature. Top three in that class: Magnolia Project first, Collage out of Akron, Ohio was second, and then Purdue University was third in the Independent A class. So, in Scholastic Open, and I guess I should do that for Scholastic A too. Your top three at Scholastic A was Reese Puffer High School. Second was Mount Vernon High School out of Indiana. And then in third place is Middleton High School out of Middleton, Ohio. In Scholastic Open, third place was Centerville High School. Second place was Milford High School, and then taking the Scholastic A championship champion at Avon was Bellbrook High School. Which is
You said A.
an Open. Sorry. So Bellbrook takes Open class, Scholastic Open class. That class is kind of loaded too. Like those top three, Franklin Central.
I'm about to say because Franklin
Northline.
Central show is good.
Greenwood, yeah, all of those. Like that's some stiff competition. If that, the top five are within 5 points of each other, the top four was within 3. So if that lets you know anything, how close that was, it was pretty.
And what's
tight.
crazy in a lot of these classes, it's so early. It's one of those things, man. In Colorguard, man, it's like 4,000 of them. So it's like you're trying to remember everybody at one show, and it's so hard. But you hear a name, and then you're like, I know I've seen that show, but you have a hard time placing every single thing that happened. And for me, like this is how I've always been with like Colorguard. It's like it doesn't even matter. Like Pendleton Heights High School got 7th. But the show was good. So it's like Colorguard, it's like that. It's like, man, it's like the show may not be scoring where at the moment, but man, these groups are coming out with some real fire right now.
Yeah, and it'll clean up. People don't. You still got groups that may not have their complete show on.
True.
There's a lot of reasons why some scores may not be as good.
I mean, I'm sure there's some groups out there that don't have uniforms yet, may not have their silks in, and stuff like that. So that makes a big difference.
Yeah. So it is still early, even though they've been out for 3 or 4 weeks. It's still relatively early in the season, so they got plenty of time to catch up and do some stuff. All right, in Independent Open, your third place group was One Light out of Danville, Indiana. Second place was Revival Winter Guard out of Indianapolis, Indiana. And the Independent Open champions was Allegiance out of Dundee,
Illinois.
Dundee, Illinois. Or Dundee, I bet it's something simple like Dundee, Illinois. So another tight class there. Only 4/10 of a point separating Allegiance and Revival there. So that could have gone either way. But this could have been somebody blinking while they were throwing it 17. So really tight stuff there.
Somebody loses a fake eyelash. And
Yeah, just something as simple as that. And Scholastic World, third place was Miamisburg High School out of Ohio. Avon High School was second, and winning Scholastic World at Avon High School was Carmel High School.
Understand me.
Okay, here we go.
That Carmel show. Listen, I made a joke to myself. Actually, I might have put it on Snapchat too. I keep telling everybody Snapchat sees it first if I ever post anything. But talking about last year, how Avon basically swept all of WGI. I was like, everybody is now mad at Avon.
Yep.
And Carmel is not playing around. That show is phenomenal. And here's the thing, Avon show is too, but I don't think Avon show is done either. I doubt Carmel show is done. I scarcely think Avon might have a little more room to grow than Carmel might. It's one of those things like when you're thinking like drum corps, it's like, man, how much can they keep adding? We got into that discussion with who was it? Crown.
Yeah.
It's like, can they still add something? And if they do add it, can you recognize that they added? So I'm a little worried for Carmel for that. But at this moment, that Carmel show is fantastic. If you have not seen it, all I'm gonna say is they have this piano on the floor, and you need to watch it.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin it. But oh my gosh.
It's funny because I texted you and I was like, why is it always Avon and Carmel?
It's all.
Why? You could be
Listen,
watching
man.
British Bake Off, maybe like, and in first place is Avon High School. You're like, wait a minute.
How?
Why?
How is the baking class?
This man done said British.
I'm mad because my senior year in high school, I was so far up ahead of credits. Like I didn't have a lot of classes to take, and I actually took a cooking class.
I did too. I took
But
two.
see, where I was, there wasn't enough people to sign up for, so they canceled the class. Oh, I was so mad. I was so mad that they canceled the class. I was like, man. I also took, I think I took like sewing or something. I was taking like random stuff because I was already an aide for like 3 classes and stuff. And I think all I had was like English 12 or something. It was ridiculous. My senior year was smooth, but they canceled both classes. I was so hot.
We only had six blocks, and my first 3 were like my last 3 like main credits that I needed. And then the back half of the day, I was in the band room the whole time,
All day.
I had like music theory, then I was teacher's aide, and then we had band at the end of the day. So I spent the bulk of my senior year in the band room.
See,
I was working. I was the dummy that took AP English and AP Calc.
oh,
I had
I did take AP, but it was in the morning. It was first thing.
I had food for a semester, and then she was like, "You want to take culinary skills?" I'm like, "That." So I took that, and then I took sociology, and I was a teacher's aide. I did not take band my senior year, just because it couldn't fit in my schedule because of calculus. I thought I was going to be a math teacher.
Nerd.
see,
And now I'm the one that's the math teacher.
Yeah, you're the math teacher.
Oh, God.
Yeah, funny how that works. So anyway, back to WinterGuard stuff here. But if you have not seen Carmel, check it out.
Yeah,
Avon, same thing. And I can't remember which one it was. It was either Fisher's or Warren Central. Let me look through my notes. Because I actually took some notes. So I wouldn't forget stuff, even though I forgot stuff.
because I was going to say this whole Scholastic World lineup just right now, and this ain't even everybody, but all 7 of these groups, you need to watch every single one of them. That's how nuts it is.
Here's the thing that fascinated me as I was watching this. I caught the back half of Carmel, and then I watched World Class during finals. These groups that are doing their audio is just like this instrumental stuff. Like, how on earth do they know the counts and how, like, if it's like if they're doing like a pop song, you have lyrics, when they say this lyric, you got to do this work. But when it's like this, all this like just instrumental stuff, I don't understand. My brain does not comprehend how they keep in time with it and how they know what's what. Like, it blows my mind. That's a skill that props to them.
There's still a beat in it. Because I fascinate on that when I watch color guards, me being a percussionist and all that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I cut and edit color guard music, selfless plug right there. Shout out. Come see me. 1, 2, 3, 4 down me, hit me up. But a lot of these shows, I'm listening to the same thing, like the color guard edits and stuff and like that. Well, I get confused. Like, if you, Avon, a prime example, they're doing, what is the
James
spy
Bond.
show? James Bond.
But
They mixed it.
They're doing Jane Bond, though.
Yeah, it's James Bond, but they mixed the theme with something else, and the theme is underneath this other song. And I said, this has to be the most brilliant audio track I've ever heard. And I can't. It's somewhere towards the middle, or whatever. I wish I knew what the other song was. I think it's like some random something. I don't even know what the song is, but all I know is you can hear the theme underneath it. And I said, okay, Avon. So for me, I'm sitting here like in awe of the audio editing. But yeah, these groups, they know where these beats are and how they're going to count this type of crazy instrumental track. You see what I'm saying? And
it is beyond
a lot of
me.
stuff is done by lyric, but they still go by count in the way that they write and whatnot. because I have to explain to a lot of people. So, because another client that I had out of Tennessee, I was talking with them and cutting their show music and telling him, I was like, okay, now if you want me to cut here, you're going to have to understand that these beats don't line up. So I told him, I said, let me fuse this and transition this and see if you like this or whatever, so you can get that constant beat continuous or whatever.
That pulse.
And a lot of people, Colorguard's the same way, like marching band or percussion, they'll get one song and one song will be faster than the other. So it's like tempo changes. You still got to deal with tempo changes. And, sometimes if you do get a random song where you just really can't find a beat, they probably will go to a certain sound. You need to be here on this or whatever. So there are methods, but it is mind blowing. I'll give you that. It's
like if they're doing some kind of spoken word, something or other, where there is no cadence going on, none. It's just
because you look at groups like Onyx that do that kind of stuff.
I was about to try to find that show because there was one year that you literally
did
not know what count anybody. You just didn't know.
It's almost like they just tell them, we're going to go to this, and no matter what the track does, don't deviate from this. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like they're telling them.
And it was controversial because a lot of people, when they did that show, people was like, but there's no beat. Like, there's no, how are you getting any effect out of anything when you don't know where things are?
And they moved.
So people were really upset about that. Like, it was kind of crazy. It was a black floor, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Who, Carmel?
No, Onyx. The show that I'm thinking about. Because if you watch it, you'll be like, "Ain't no way, ain't no way."
I feel like it was like 16 or 17.
Was it that late? I thought I was in my apartment when he did that.
Might be a good one to save for a react.
Listen.
No, I said, wait. Well, actually, I know I had my house when that show came out. I don't know if Hardy was in that group or not. They've done some stuff, man. They've put some stuff out there.
I mean, the show this weekend, you're talking about Onyx, right? I mean, I texted you when I was watching. I was like,
what is?
I said, what is she doing?
They got
the beginning.
Got the girl from The Ring in it.
Yeah, it's all contorted up down there.
What is happening? What is scary happening? Movie is going on?
Oh man, but yeah, there's some good stuff. I mean, like I haven't been big into the guard world, but just sitting here watching, even just getting to the world class groups in finals. There was some good stuff and there was at least one part in every show where I was just like amazed.
Yeah.
At what was going on. So, those groups are doing some good stuff, especially like we've been talking about for it to be early. And then like for the world class groups, when you think about that, they're only rehearsing like on weekends. Like the fact that they're doing that.
I think he's meaning, I'm just clarifying, independent world.
Oh, sorry.
Independent world.
Well, they're good too. But yeah, independent world. My apologies.
It's okay. But yeah, another one at a Scholastic World that caught my attention. There was one specific spot with a Northview High School. They did a show called Mystic Dreams, and they kind of did that 3-panel thing too. Except their 3 panels, either some people may have said they look like tarot cards, which I think that's what they're kind of going for, are just highly really cool design carpets. I don't really know, but they did.
I said the same thing, tarot card.
Yeah.
I was like,
but they had one spot where there was a fugue happening musically, and they visually represented it with the silks, the flags, and the tambourines. They did some little tambourine work. But it was a really cool moment. It was in that if you're looking at the floor, it was in that left third of the floor, and you can see how the work that they were doing correlated with the lyrics that were being sung in the fugue part. It was a really, really cool moment. Like, I was like, let me make sure I remember that. Excuse me, and give them a shout out for that, because that was very well written. If they can clean some of that stuff up, I think they got a shot to move up in the rankings. Jurassic World's highly competitive. All of them are highly competitive.
it's outrageous.
So, and then in independent world, you had 4 world-class groups. So I'll just say them all. Elevate was in 4th place. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was them that used...
It was Crown music from this song.
Yes. Yeah. It was them that used their Crown, same music the Crown used. And I always like hearing the real version of songs from people, just to see how much they take from it. And so they did. And I actually liked that show. Like, I was like, the music drew me in, and then the work that they were doing. Like, I was like, okay, I could watch this again.
One thing.
Go ahead.
One thing I noticed about them, they didn't have a floor, but they pulled out like the outline of where the floor would be, and it was like this clear plastic, but it had some tape on it, and I guess some like maybe intervals or steps. I don't know for sure, but I thought that was interesting because they had those props that they moved around.
Yeah.
But they didn't have a floor, but they used that border on the outside with some markings on it for them, so they could have a visual of where they needed to be and stuff. I thought that was different.
And you're starting to see that a little bit more often, is people just won't use the floor, especially since WGI adopted using a black floor instead of a white floor for the base. Some groups just don't even bother with the floor anymore, which kind of opens things up.
It keeps costs down.
Down. You have a pure blank canvas that you can use. So
to get on and off.
Yes. Or you got to just pick up your stuff.
And put your thoughts towards something else, too.
Yeah. So, and then 3rd place was Lexus out of Lexington, Kentucky. And I think this is a step up for them.
Yeah, it is. Because that show is really interesting. And they're really performing that show. I really like the floor. Man, the floor designs, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's like I don't even want to start.
I think it was probably the last maybe 30 seconds to a minute of that when they started with the full flag feature with the whole ensemble. From then to the very end, I was like fixated.
Yeah.
And then at the end when they do that last set with the rifle tosses, that was a cool ending.
Yeah. Picked a bad time to take a drink. And I was like, he's going to keep. No, he's not going to talk. All right, here we are. Second place was Onyx, and Onyx is Onyx, man. What are you going to say? This a really beautiful show that they're doing. I can't wait to see it again. It makes me want to go to a tri-state show and try to see it in person.
See?
For sure.
Yeah, that'd be one that would definitely hit different in person, I think.
And then your independent world winners at the Avon Regional was Pride of Cincinnati. Dear Lord, have mercy.
I almost didn't even make it out the beginning set. like they in this pod and this girl is just reaching and it's just the most especially in prelims, and it's like the most emotional thing I've ever seen. And then the way they peeled out of that ball, into the floor, I almost turned the screen. I was like, I'm not finna do this. I said, Pride, what? Okay. I said, that don't make no sense. I was like, how y'all gonna just? All you're doing is peeling out of a ball. You ain't even picked a weapon up yet. You ain't done nothing. The song barely started. And I was like, this is already brilliant. And then they sat down. I said, Pride, y'all pay. Okay.
The body control of your top tier world class groups, and whether scholastic or independent, is this bar. You can't. It's hard to compare. Like I was sitting there watching Onyx and like how they manipulate their body to make shapes on the floor. Like that was the most perfect circle.
Ooh, I almost mentioned you.
Ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah. They did it again in finals, and I said, okay, is there something drawn on the floor? Because how do you do that twice? And y'all are laying down.
And if you haven't seen it, they're on a plain white floor in plain black uniform. There is no room for error. Like
none.
Just the slightest bit off, and like you'll be able to tell because the contrast between the colors is so stark. But
yo, boy going off in the middle with the flag, and I'm like, Onyx.
I was just like, how?
I said, because it didn't catch me at first, because I don't know what I was looking at. Maybe I was looking at the person in the middle or whatever, and then my eyes just panned out, and I just said to myself, I said, that has to be the most perfect circle I've ever seen. And they laying down. And then here comes finals, and then I made sure I was watching, and then I said, "These little son of."
How to get in and out of forms is amazing to me. Like it's amazing to me. And then you mentioned the Pride when when they're tight and they're ball. That's to me when you see the training is when they do stuff like that because Avon had not Avon sorry. Onyx has a moment like that to start the show where they're in the ball and they're doing all this body work and they're manipulating the movement, and you can just see the mass move together as a unit.
And the contrast of like their hands against the black uniform, like you talk about hand position has to be the same, like down to the minute knuckle is ridiculous.
And I think part of that execution is not due to good teaching. Let's get that out of the way. Fantastic teaching, fantastic work. But I wonder if that age or lack of age limit, how many people do you have out there that's over the 23 who's had all these years of dance now, who have done this activity, and they can because you really only see that high of execution in independent world from a body work standpoint. It's uncanny.
It is.
It is unreal. Like I don't as a judge, I'm like, how do you look at that and be like, okay, your elbow was at a 67.2 degree angle.
Yeah, that is not it.
That ain't it. You gotta get that 0.2 down. You got to get that 0.2 off of
They
that.
wear protractors and rulers and
If
y'all don't go somewhere.
I love. That's the reason why I fell in love with Guard. It was the body, the manipulation of body, and how he did that. And I'm a fan of Onyx because they typically have really cool drill, and how they use their drill to get in and out of sets and. Colorguard's the best at misdirection. Yeah. They'll take you somewhere in some corner, and you're watching some kid throw a 7, and then all of a sudden you look on the opposite side of the floor, and there's 30 flags. Wait a minute. There was only 15 people on the floor earlier. Where did the other 15 people come from? but just a master. And they pulling flags out of everywhere, and you know, they come back and he's like, I didn't see. Where did they get a building? How did they build the Eiffel Tower?
Listen,
you know, it's.
I said it on Snapchat. I said, where'd they get this staircase from?
Yeah.
Don't you? I don't even remember what school that was. I think it was Scholastic A school. It might have been Scholastic. I don't think it was Scholastic World. Was it? Was it Warren Central? I don't know.
Like, I remember you sending that snap.
I said, where does staircase come?
Pull stuff out of places.
And that show was cool. I was like, because they had the little tree with lights on them or something. I was like, all right.
I think so. What got me with the Pride show was, I mean, obviously all of it was ridiculously good, but there was one moment when they had a saber in one hand and a rifle in the other, and they toss the saber, and then they do something with the rifle and toss it behind them to the person behind them, and they catch the saber like nothing ever happened. I'm like, first of all,
yeah, them exchanges be wild.
Why?
Watch out for Avon, because with a show like this, they pull some stunts, but they got some more up their sleeve.
That's why I said what I said about them and Carmel. I was like, look, I know what it looked like now, and Avon, and no joke, Avon's gonna still have to come with it, because once everybody starts seeing everybody at Worlds and everything, it's gonna start speaking different. But it just looks, that show just looks like it has the room to do something else, and to surprise you with this. And don't get it twisted, they are still spinning.
Oh yeah,
they still spinning. Yeah. But that show was fun.
Yeah, it was really cool. Really cool. I'm looking forward to see how that evolves throughout the season. So those were your regionals from this past weekend. Like I said, it's just good to have it back. You know, I said the same thing about DCI, but it's good to have Winter Guard back too. Like, it's, people are going after it and just having some fun with it. So next week there are 5 guard regionals, not next week, this weekend. There are 5 guard regionals. We have Houston, Texas, which is there's 4 regionals, but I'll explain why I said 5 in a second. So you have the Houston, Texas regional, which is also going to be featured on Flow Marching. So you're going to see some good Texas groups there. So we're going to get a different look at some folks from out of that show. And then Huntsville, Alabama's got a regional. Mayfield, Texas, so another regional in Texas. And then Salem, Massachusetts is going to be running it out. And then also WGI has a virtual component. They started this when COVID happened, and they kind of kept it. And it's a really good way for groups that can't afford to do like a regular schedule and travel to all these places. One, it's a good way for them to still have a competitive outlet or just a showcase outlet through WGI and still get feedback. But also, they can just get feedback in general. So you can have, your group can compete virtually and in person at the same time. So, but the prelims for virtual groups 1 is also this weekend. So, and you can watch those on Flow Marching as well. So you got 4 big regionals happening. Houston, Texas is the one that's going to be on Flow Marching. So you can check that out there. I want to do rankings really quickly.
While you're looking that up, we had some good comments on our Twitter this weekend from our friend David, and then another guy named John, who they were talking about how they caught the show on Flow this weekend. And one of the points that they brought up, they were talking about Onyx, and then they were talking about Pride of Cincinnati. And David said that you could really see the Boston Crusaders influence that is going on within Pride's design. And I didn't realize this, but I think a lot of their staff is from Boston Crusaders. So
makes sense.
It does make a lot of sense. And David brought up the fact that they had these these long distance exchanges and stuff between weapons, and just ridiculousness going on. So that was some good interaction going on there. On our Twitter this weekend, I wanted to shout out those guys for taking care of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because those guys are kind of friends of the podcast, and we want to shout those guys out because they're doing great things within the pageantry arts community as well.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing it longer than we have. We just started this thing. So if you go to WGI.org, you can find Colorguard rankings, and they basically do these scores from the regional contest only. So once a regional comes out, you can go there, and it'll just say current standings and stuff like that. And you can just kind of get an idea. Once again, it's hard to compare groups that went to different regionals, okay? So while you can kind of get close, this is not a stay hard and fast type of deal here. But there, and I'm just going to kind of post these up, but there you can see the rankings for Scholastic A, and you can already see a bunch of them have already gone out. 31 groups have already been to a regional. And some of you might be wondering, how they do this. Your rank is based off your seeding score. So basically what they do is they take your latest score, so the score from your last regional, okay, and it tells you which week that was from, and then they give you a seeding score. Basically, if I remember this correctly, you get 1.5 points per week up until championships. So if you added 1.5 points to these scores all the way up into where championships would be, this is what your score would be. This is how they kind of,
Everybody's 9 points higher right now.
Yes. So I think I did that math right. So I think it's 1.5. So if a group doesn't go out to regional next week, okay, their score will still stand, and they'll still put that 1.5 there. So, groups will fluctuate as they get better, and things of that nature. So you can kind of look here. Here's your top, groups in Scholastic A. You got Liberty High School out of Missouri. You got that Reese Puffer out of Michigan, and you got Walton High School out of Georgia in the top 3 there. And Scholastic Open. Your top 3 there are Bellbrook, Milford, and then you have Centerville in your top 3 in Scholastic Open. In Scholastic World, you have Carmel sitting up top, Avon second, Miamisburg third, and you got to remember a lot of groups haven't gone out, so this probably will change quite a bit once we get our Texas regionals happening. When you get those guards in the mix there, but those are your top 3 in Scholastic World. In Independent A, you have the Magnolia Project sitting first right now, Collage sitting second, and then Onyx's A class group sitting third. So there's your, see that there. And Independent Open, you have the Pride of Missouri State sitting first, Levante Performance Ensemble sitting second, and Allegiance sitting third in Independent Open. And in Independent World, you have Pride Cincinnati sitting first, Onyx sitting second, Lexus finished third. But there's plenty of time still to go with that. And so all of that will change, especially after the next regionals will be coming up there. So, all right. We didn't talk much about the percussion world because there was not a percussion regional. However, you can still go to our friends over at drumrank.com, and they do pull this local show. So somebody over there
doing some research
is doing some research.
Heavy.
They are doing the Lord's work, and I thank them for that because it's, you wouldn't know what other people are scoring in other places if it wasn't for this. So here's their website, drumrank.com. They do WGI stuff. They also do DCI when that's happening, and they have their stuff in nice little tabs. So in your concert classes, and these are only groups that are going to World Championships, so they're not ranking anybody else. So these are only groups that are going to World Championships. So the groups going to Worlds in percussion scholastic concert A, you got Penn Tafford sitting up top, in concert A, Greenfield second, McKinley. Yeah, you need to hear some trumpets. That's ridiculous. And then West Claremont. So we got some scores there early on. And you have the date there. They don't do the prediction scores. They just kind of rank them as they go from week to week. In Concert Open, only Cleveland's going out, but that's a pretty solid number for them in open class. And then in Scholastic Concert World, Corner holding 80 in world class this early is pretty good. And Catawba Wedge is sitting there second there. And then in Scholastic A, all right, your top three right now is 96 High School, and then you got Gulfport sitting second, and then Northview High School finishing sitting third right now. Out of the groups that are competing, quite a few A-class groups have already gone out. 35, so that's a lot. That's about half of the groups that I think that are going to Worlds. In Scholastic Open, you got Sawfair, they're typically strong. That's a pretty big gap there, so we'll see how that transpires. Clearbrook, Oak Bridge, we talked about them in our previous show.
Clearbrook gonna be mad.
Boy,
I know they mad.
Sitting down in the top three, and then Clover, who we did a React video on, who was in A class last year, holding their own in the open class right now.
Yeah.
So that's really good to see from them. So Scholastic Open,
I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
not at all. Percussion Scholastic World, Chino Hill sitting up top with the 85, big number for them. There's no universe class, so they're just going to stay in world. Avon High School sitting up there. Pedal High School, big number for them. I'm excited to see this.
That's what I'm talking about.
In person.
I saw that and I was like, oh yeah, let's get it.
Lots of good things happening there. Still quite a few groups yet to
I was
come
about
out.
to say it's scary though, because your boys ain't up there, and Alyala ain't up there, and
Dartmouth,
Center Grove,
Center Grove.
Well, Centerville went out, but Center Grove ain't on there, and then Dartmouth, and there's still some heavy hitters in the hood, but that's a good number.
Yes,
for them.
Yes, so keep a lookout for them. Percussion Independent A, we got Mount Juliet sitting up top right now. Out of Tennessee, Nomad sitting second, and then Charlestown sitting third right now. So got your independent groups happening in A class and Independent Open. Maracay or Maracay or Mariki.
I think it's America.
Where are they from? Are they new?
I don't see. Okay, I think I follow somebody on Instagram, and I think that's the group that they've been posting, because they've been posting some group I haven't heard of, and I think that's the name of them. If not, then the group that I'm thinking of maybe starts with the R, but I'm pretty sure it's this group. I'm like, who is this group? But whoever it is, they putting down some notes.
Yeah, they're doing something right, because you're popping the 80s this early in the season.
Yeah, they putting some notes out.
Yeah, you gotta be doing something. Infinity 2 sitting second, and then Q2, which is Atlanta Quest's second group, is sitting third right now. So some interesting groups, and then Infinity 3 is almost bookending them. Wonder why they didn't go A class. That's interesting. But progress.
Infinity 2?
Infinity 3.
What, A class?
Yeah, why they're not in A class.
Oh,
And then in Percussion Independent World, you got Broken City sitting up top right now. Pulse is right behind them. And then Rhythm X is sitting third. RCC, Monarch. Keep an eye out on Monarch. Really cool show. Really interesting vibe to it. I like what Mystique's doing right now. Infinity's got a pretty interesting show. It's just a tough class.
it is.
It's
I like
a
Infinity show.
Hyper Tough class. So, and almost all of the A
And don't
class,
expect Cap to stay down there either.
nah, they'll find something out.
It's early, y'all.
So, yeah, this is super early, but things will start taking shape in like March. You'll start seeing patterns happen when people start getting their shows finished, and things start getting clicking and stuff like that. So, but yeah, once again, drumrate.com. Just go to that site. You got your WGI scores. You can go back and look at DCI stuff from last year, and then they even have historical scores from years past. So it's a really, really good site. And like I said, somebody's doing their Instagram is pretty cool as well. Gives you kind of a little bit of a synopsis of what's going on, as opposed to just kind of a breakdown. So yeah, big week. It's like WG, we are here. My kids had their first show on Saturday, so we're getting pretty excited about things. Looking forward to seeing our name on that list.
Word.
Hopefully, we're not at the bottom. But who knows? We'll see.
Started from the bottom now.
Yeah, we got. Yeah, I mean, listen. If you start on the bottom, then
The only way to go is up.
But we'll see how it goes. We're doing some fun stuff. Stuff that we don't have to do, but we're going to do it anyway. We like having fun. So there it is. So big week of shows coming up again for Guard, and then the weekend after that, it's percussion regionals, and we'll be full blown, ready to roll and do some stuff. So, guys, you got anything else? Any comments, thoughts?
Nope.
As always, communicate with us. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. Who would you like to see? Any shockers so far? I know we talked a lot of Guard today, but it is Winter Guard International.
Right.
And we're not just one trick ponies. We know about Guard stuff. Like, we can talk Guard. So we love our drums. But we just love good performance. Like, I don't care what it is.
That part.
You can be, I mean, Guard, drums, winds.
Start talking about ballet.
Cheerleading, whatever. Listen, we can get into it. So just be glad we didn't start talking about the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. End the podcast.
Cut that out.
End the podcast.
Well, as always, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can listen to us on Spotify.fm, and I think you can watch us on Spotify.fm. Yeah, it's not Spotify.fm, but Spotify. I think you can watch us on there now too, and then Anchor.fm. So you can catch us on all of those things. We probably will have a React video come out this week as well, so you get a 2 for this week.
Yeah.
But let us know in the comments down below what you thought about everything. Who you want to talk about? Are you going to a regional? Are you in a group? Were you the person that threw a 7 in that one group? I don't know. Just let us
Or were
know.
you the one who dropped?
Oh,
Somebody.
And now you're cut.
Somebody's finals run. I was watching somebody's finals run. It's like, yeah. Oh.
yeah. I said that during prelims and someone is girl. I said, "Oh, these clankums on this floor. Oh, they're gonna have to pay a fine." There's popcorn everywhere.
But you know what? The audience still clapped.
Yeah, they sure will.
Yes, queen.
They're gonna clap for you in color guard. You're gonna get talked about in percussion.
Yeah, all right.
It's gonna be
Can you
cricket.
believe he dropped the stick? He dropped the stick, man.
Like this mother.
So say, in percussion, if you throw it in the air, you better catch it.
Better.
He learned that.
They don't give a care about it if you're a 10
Yeah.
or not. I don't care if you tried to catch it. No.
Yeah. Don't do it if you ain't got to.
Percussion is so petty.
My dumb kids throwing bass drum mallets, but we did get some applause for it.
Yeah.
The crowd will dug it. I gotta figure out where we're gonna throw this year. I might throw a child across.
Oh God.
Whee!
I'm gonna need you to sign this waiver, bro.
Yeah. Listen.
No, you ain't gotta read it. Just sign.
Listen. Don't be mad at me about this ballot.
Cedric.
Don't be mad at me. So anyway,
Mm-hmm.
for Zach and Will and Chris, wherever he may be, my name is Cedric. This has been On the Backhash, episode 26.
26.
26. I don't know any big 26 numbers.
Well, that's half a year.
Yeah, it is.
52 weeks in a year.
Wow. Wow. Damn, that just put it in perspective.
Happy Valentine's 6-month anniversary.
I mean, well,
Kind of.
we skipped some weeks too, so we're really actually past half a year. Holy crap!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we got like 5 years. I didn't really think we'd get that. I'm proud of us.
Right? Do a party episode.
What?
They do a party episode.
Hey, we might need to. So anyway, from all of us to all of you guys, thank you for watching and listening. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and all that good jazz. Make sure you take care of one another, love one another. Go see a show. Go work on some kids and all that good stuff. So, all right, for episode 26, we are done. Out.
Out.
Chief Scott.